Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another weapon overview. And with the release of Yangyang, Ling just on the horizon, and of course, her role as a sword user, you're probably wondering, should I invest in this, like, honestly, this looks like some World of Warcraft stuff over here. Like, good gosh, they really went all out for this. Is the vibes, right? Is the aesthetic, is the look worth the pulls? And of course, is the strength of the weapon up to cuff as well? Because you're always wondering, especially with the limited resources in this game, are you pulling something that's actually worth it? Or is it better for you to save, maybe pull a teammate instead, or go for a completely different weapon option that's actually going to work out well too? That's the question that we're going to be answering today. And of course, with version 3.5 being one of the more popular versions ever with a lot of stuff coming, you might be wanting to save as well. So let's go ahead, get right on into it. And if you're saving up for some of the upcoming banners, you've got to check out Enjoy GM. It's a top-up platform that gives you some of the best prices on in-game currency, especially for Wuthering Waves, with discounts up to 20% off. New users get 8% off site-wide that's stacked with member deals, 6480 plus 1600 Lunites for just $75. Note, discounts may vary by the region. The process is super simple. Just your UID and server, and your Lunites will arrive in minutes. They also have 24/7 customer support and work with tons of global payment methods, so it's fast and convenient. Plus, Enjoy GM is certified with PCI DSS security standards and has received consistently high ratings on Trustpilot, a platform you can trust completely. I've tested it myself. It's safe, legit, and saves you real money. If you want to stock up on your Lunites before the banners drop, click the link in the description below or the pinned comment and start saving with Enjoy GM today. All right, so first things first, as we get into this weapon overview, we're going to take a quick little look at how nice this thing is. It's covered in feathers. Remember, this is for a Havoc character. Forged in flowing wind, sheathed in the... Okay, now they're just fucking with us. Again, yes, it's just they can't stop talking about wind, and this is for a Havoc character. The base stats on this weapon are vanilla. The very first standard weapon that most people saw in the game was Emerald of Genesis, and that has the same exact base stats as this, with a nice 587 base attack and a 24.3% crit rate. And the situation over here is this. Yangyang is going to be a character that's reliably going to have probably around 100% crit rate as long as she's using this weapon. And the main reason that I'm saying that is this. Her Sonata set is the Saga Feather Trace. And what this one does over here is it gives you a crit rate and a heavy attack damage bonus when you apply Havoc Bane, which is what Yangyang is easily able to do in her kit. And so kind of like the end result is that we see it with characters, right? Like your Imiths and your Hiyukis. They end up with roughly 100% crit rate in combat. I don't even actually know. Oh, both these guys have... Do they have the same exact stats? Wait, their stats are almost identical. That's a little bit uncanny. Holy shit. Anyways, this is probably what your Yangyang Ling stats are going to look like as well. So do keep that in mind. Yeah, probably around 70 to 75% crit rate and close to 100% in actual combat. So that's one of the benefits of pulling your weapon over here. But like I said, this has the exact same base stats as a standard weapon as well. And that one's going to be, well, you guessed it, Emerald of Genesis. So, a very, very, very easy tactic that I'm going to tell everybody, regardless of if you're a whale. Probably not if you're a whale, because you can just pull whatever you want. But if you're anybody that's at least slightly cognizant of the amount that you're spending on characters, weapons, pulls, all of that, just try her out on EOG first. It's not like it matters. You're just going to build this same exact Yangyang as you would with her SIG, and you can just put EOG on, and the stats are the same. And then if you decide, hey, I want to do more damage with my birds, I want my birds to deal more damage, then you pick this shit up. Because that's an option that's always going to be available with you. You can roll the same exact echoes, just make sure you're accounting for EOG's extra ER in the process. But that's what this means. Very easy to just start off with this weapon and then upgrade from there. And that's what I tell every single player, especially for some of these newer releases. Because guess this, guys. This unit don't need her signature to clear everything in the game with ease. This unit don't need her signature to clear everything in the game with ease. Because you put EOG on these guys, and then you just have their team, they're butt fucking everything in the game. It's not necessary at all to get their signatures with their teams. That's it. That's the situation. And based off of what I've read in Yangyang's kit, I see a similar thing going on over here. Let me just tell you a couple of the elements that are in Yangyang's kit. For example, she gives herself a shit ton of, well, havoc damage amplification via the number of stacks that she has. Who increases stack limits? Her teammates. And based off of what I'm reading over here, Yangyang's damage is going to scale way more with her teammates as opposed to her signature weapon. And if the situation calls for you to spend and you have a limited number of resources and you're deciding, hey, should I get Yangyang's teammate or her weapon? I'm going to be the first to tell you this. I think her teammate is a better investment than her weapon. And it might be better to just run with EOG on the side as you get ready to get there. That's my personal take. And if you don't agree with that, I don't know why you would do that. Maybe you should go reread her kit again. But that's what's happening over here. And I'm saying this before you even get into the weapon effect. On the flip side, it's a pretty damn good weapon effect. So let's actually start talking about it. All right. So, weapon skill, Unbending. Grants a 12% all attribute damage bonus. It's been a long time since we've gotten a 12% attribute damage bonus. Yeah, it's actually Imyth was the last time that we had this. So this is not going to be an attack bonus in her kit. This is a little bit odd because Yangyang is a character that, oddly enough, really wants attack. Because Yangyang, like I mentioned before, has all of these damage amps and stuff like that. And she also has a couple of minor damage bonuses in her kit as well, especially from that new Echo. That new Echo set that we saw, right? Where is it? Yeah, especially from that new Echo set down here. But you notice things like this. Her 4-cost Echo doesn't look like it grants any damage bonuses, and she doesn't have any attack bonuses in her kit, and her weapon doesn't have any attack bonuses either. So it's kind of like the end result is, she's lacking a lot of stats, and her weapon doesn't seem to make up for them. It only seems to give her more stats than she already has. And one of those stats is heavy attack damage amp. She gains 36% more after potentially already having 66% in her kit. Going from 66 to 102 is not actually that much. Not actually that much. So do keep that in mind. And that's why I'm saying her teammates could actually be better than her weapon, right? Because you get a whole character that you might be able to use in different teams. And if that character happens to be like a Suisui or a Chisa, right? Then they kind of are giving you the damage amp that you're getting from her weapon, like right there. And you really want her teammates. Remember, I told you that. The real reason for why her weapon might be an option for you is this. It also gives you a 12% defense ignore. This will be my take. 12% defense ignore is actually negligible. In actuality, if the defense ignore number is between like 8 and like 15%, it might as well not exist. Like it seems like a lot. It seems like it's good, but it truly is not. And the thing is that you already have defense ignore built into this team via Havoc Bane. Because Havoc Bane, right? We see 6 stacks on here, right? 4 to 6. This decreases defense by 2% per stack. This stat of defense ignore is actually way better on characters that don't have Havoc Bane in their team. Let me show you a case where it's actually significant. Imyth's, because she ignores 32% defense and 10% fusion res. That's when it becomes significant. Because think about it this way. Let's just imagine it's 32% defense ignore. If the enemy has 100% defense, you're ignoring 32% of it. That makes sense, right? You're ignoring 32 defense. If the enemy already has their defense reduced to, let's just say, like 98 or 88, now you're ignoring 36% of 88, and you're losing, and you're getting less damage. You're ignoring a smaller amount because you've already reduced the amount via Havoc Bane. So this defense ignore amount is A, very small, and then B, you're ignoring defense that's already been ignored or that's already been reduced. So the actual effect of this is less than... Basically, I'm saying that if this line was deleted, you would notice almost no difference in damage because you're already reducing their defense. And so you're taking an additional... You know how diminishing returns work, right, guys? We all know how diminishing returns work. So Chisa's like ignoring up to like 18% as well. The kind of like the end result, guys, is that like this is clearly meant to be. You're not actually supposed to have Chisa on the team. I think this is just telling you that part of like Chisa's defense ignore ability is going to be built into the weapon, and you're meant to upgrade from Chisa later on in the version. because I don't think that Yangyang is supposed to use Suisui and Chisa in the same team. That's both of the negative status supports for one fucking character, which is ridiculous. That's like one of the... If you did that in End State Matrix, you probably should be arrested as like a fucking... as like an endgame terrorist, right? That is probably the most endgame terrorist thing you can do in this game, would be to run Chisa, Suisui, and Yangyang. Like, you're a fucking criminal at that point. That's why they gave her 2 charges. Use the 2 charges on, like, fucking Cart, Hiyuki, or, like, Imith, you fucking freak. Don't use... Anyways. It's a good weapon. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is, I think most people could not pull it, and they might not even notice that they don't have it. I think in general, it might be considered... Like, I might put some money on this one for right now. I feel like the stats that it provides are so redundant for Yangyang that, like, the difference between this and EOG is actually going to be significantly small. Because you haven't noticed this, and I haven't talked about it yet, but look at the stat that EOG actually provides. Remember what I said was missing from her kit? Attack. This literally gives an attack bonus that's so significant for Yangyang, I think the gap between the two is going to be really small. Because attack is like the one stat she's got none of. And when you input attack into her damage formula, you get the most out of it. That's because of that built-in amp, right? That's because of like that built-in 66%. That's because of the damage bonuses she get from her, like, her set and stuff. Putting in attack gives you a lot of outputs. And so I'm of the opinion, bro, this might be one of the smallest gaps between, like, signature and standard weapon we've seen on a unit before. Because this is just giving you 36% more of what you already have a lot of. And then, at least for the Chisa teams, when you're beginning, you already have that. And you already have it from Havoc main. So it's like, you can kind of see what's going on over here. My personal take is this. Go with EOG, and then if you feel like you need more damage, like I said before, go for her Sig. However, there are some other situations, right? There are some other options that are going to be available because it is at its baseline. It is at a baseline. Heavy attacks for swords have a little bit more support than you might think. And the best way for us to look at it is to just go right over here. So, if you take a look at all the swords in the game, we talked a lot about EOG. This is the standard baseline option for pretty much everybody. Then you got resident skills over here, not relevant. Basic attacks, not relevant. ER, not relevant. Even more ER, which is... And Toon Strain Interfered, which is just get the fuck out of here. Rover's Weapon, Carts, and then Shu Yan's. So this is where stuff gets a little bit interesting. Chu Yan is an Echo skill buffer, yet his weapon is low-key, like, pretty good. It'll give you 12% attack, and then if you just use your Echo skill within 10 seconds after using an intro, well, you'll gain a 30% heavy attack damage bonus. I don't think you're going to be able to activate the second stack of this, but you'll also provide a 20% Echo skill damage to the team as well. I mean, this isn't like the worst thing ever. And I could see a fucked up team out there where you run like Suisui, Frolova, and then like Yangyang with this equipped, and then you give the 20% Echo skill damage buff to the team for Frolova's Hikari, and then it sounds like a little stupid, but like it's not the worst thing ever. And you're getting decent damage bonuses as well and losing the amp. This is probably going to be her easy second best option. And if you have this, I can 100% say if you have this, you do not need her Sig. Like this will clear everything in the game with ease. And low-key, it is actually one of the better looking signatures in the game. Yeah, no, this will clear... You do not need her signature if you have this. You really don't. I'm going to be pulling it. But yeah, if you have this... Absurd. Absolute absurdity. Absolute absurdity. Won't she overcap on crit rate? It's the same. You do realize what her regular weapon is, right? Are we just out here saying dumb fucking comments on the stream? Yeah, after not even looking at her actual Sig stats because they're the same as Chu Yan's. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. Okay, cool, awesome. All right, cool. Hey, maybe we can like look up the thing we're talking about first instead of just chiming in to contribute to the discussion when we got no fucking clue what's going on. I hate when people do that. So yeah, Emerald Sentence. Probably really, really good. And probably her second best option. EOG after that. And if you have this, you have to try her out on this one first before pulling her weapon. Unless you don't give a fuck about pulls and you don't give a fuck about resources, in which case, why are you watching this video? So yeah, I think we've gone through all of the different users. I think we've gone through all of the different specifications. And I think this is the issue, and I think this is the problem. We just talked about a bunch of weapons that are usable on other characters, right? Namely, Chuyan and EOG. This weapon, on the other hand, is usable on pretty much nobody except Yangyang. Because nobody applies Havoc Bane except Chisa in the game. And she's a Broadblade user, and this is a sword. So this is, again, like, we kind of look at Imith, Hiyuki, and now this character, right? They got some of the most hyper-specific signatures in the game that literally are not usable on other characters. But oddly enough, they also look like the most signature unreliant characters in the game. Like this, she don't need it. You can just use EOG, you're cruising. She don't need it. You can just use EOG, you're cruising. And with Yangyang from the kit that we've seen, once again, she don't need it. Just use EOG and you're cruising. And I feel like that's essentially the draw right now. Is that EOG is kind of like so strong. It's so powerful that sword signatures feel like they need to be somewhat overtuned for somebody to even like consider pulling them in the first place. Because in a lot of respects, functionally, a lot of these signatures you're pulling are fucking useless. They are fucking useless from the perspective of you could not have it, just use EOG, and you would have cleared all the content you cleared anyways. Like, if it wasn't on your account, nothing in your Wuthering Waves experience would have changed. You just have more pulls. And you know that's a fact. You know that's true. If you put your EOG on your Hiyuki, she's still clearing everything. Put it on your Imith, she's still clearing everything. You could just not have those weapons and still clear everything, and you're like, good. But you pulled them because they look cool. And so part of me is wondering, do these signatures even need to be that strong in the first place? Because I feel like half the reason why we're pulling them is just because they look cool, because we don't need them anyways, because EOG is so strong. And that's how it's been in practice. So yeah. In this case, you're really just pulling for the rule of cool, because this ain't usable on nobody else. You got two other amazing options, but like this does look pretty fucking cool, so I can't blame anybody for doing that. Let me know what you all thought about this one. Peace out.